Hello everyone, this is CanMade. Today I'm going to test the durability of the Tesla Cybertruck that I made out of modeling clay. We'll do a crash test and see how much it gets crushed, how badly, and what's left of it afterwards. So, I made this Tesla out of sculpting clay, using firm and very firm NSP modeling clay. It took me 56 hours of work over 6 days to make this car. This was one of the easiest models to make. Well, it's not hard to guess why. But despite that, I still decided to make a working chassis it can actually drive. I already have a full review of this Tesla on my channel, where I talk in more detail about how I made this Tesla out of modeling clay. If you haven't watched it yet, the link to it will be in the description. In this video, it will be just a crash test, so how can a modeling clay car even get wrecked? I made it out of thin pieces of modeling clay, tightly covered with foil, which helps the clay keep its shape and not bend. Plus, this way you also get pretty realistic damage. Also, this truck has a frame running throughout the entire body, just like a real one, so it won't get deformed easily and will be quite sturdy. Well, that's what I think. But before we do the crash test, let's check the door for strength and see if it can withstand a sledgehammer blow. And now let's repeat this on a larger scale. I don't see any dents here, just like on a real Cybertruck. Now I'll tell you how the crash test will be conducted. I've created a kind of acceleration lane, where at the end of the path the Cybertruck will be standing and along this lane the car will be accelerating. On the control panel, on which at the front a bumper made of plasticine is installed, it is shaped in such a way that the damage is not too severe and the bumper itself can also deform. I also added soft kitchen sponges. I attached them to the wall where this pickup will be placed. This is necessary so that when the remote-controlled car crashes into the Cybertruck, it doesn't receive additional damage from behind. This way, the impact will be softened and the damage will mostly be concentrated right at the point of collision. These are just my assumptions, we'll see how it works in practice. And this is roughly what we should get. Well then, let's get started. I take my words back. About it supposedly being durable, I expected it would actually be able to withstand a hit and the damage wouldn't be that severe. But here, well, there's nothing under the hood, just the frame. And that's why it got bent so badly. But it looks pretty realistic, even the paint cracked from the bends, and that adds even more realism to the damage. But the sponges don't really help that much. The rear part still bent, although not much. But maybe it could have been worse without them. On the right side, the situation is already worse. You can see that the roof pillar cracked and bent. Also, there are small bends above the rear wheel and the doors got squeezed. They became tighter. And here's what happened to the bumper on the Jeep. It didn't get too badly crumpled, but enough. That was a beautiful collision. Look at how realistically the front fender bent, even the wheel got a little jammed. And because the impact was on the left side, the roof pillar just went zigzag, but even the glass is still holding. Strange, usually in such collisions it always flies off. And here's the rear part, it bent even more. Maybe the sponges are a bad idea, because if they weren't there, the trunk wouldn't have bent inward so much. That was already a very strong collision. The impact hit the driver's door and it was pushed very far into the car's interior. From above, it looks better. Yes, if the driver had been there, he wouldn't have had it easy. The doors of course got bent, but nothing happened to the threshold. In the front, the hood flew off, and here you can see the frame elements, which are already bent. Well, on the right side, only the doors are slightly bent. Now I'll crash into the rear part at maximum speed and we'll see what happens. This is how it got bent after the last very strong collision. It turned out pretty rough. The doors are the weak point and because of them, the car folded into the cabin. The roof accordingly couldn't withstand it since it's made of thin supports. Well, basically, this is what's left of it after those 4 collisions. As a result, about this crash test, I'll say that it turned out to be quite interesting, although I thought the Cybertruck would be more durable. About these bumpers, they do of course absorb part of the impact, but sometimes they actually make things worse because they crumple unevenly. Maybe they should be removed altogether. What do you think about these bumpers? Should we keep them in the future or get rid of them? Of course, this crash test doesn't show what would happen with a real Tesla in such conditions. This is just entertaining content for you and I hope you enjoyed it. Now Tesla joins the collection of crashed cars on the shelf and you might recognize something familiar here. And that's all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it, subscribe to the channel if you're here for the first time and if you're interested in my clay creations. Thanks for watching. Goodbye all.